Hello everyone, it's Cleo here, and today we're going to be talking about the new movie My Little Pony: A New Generation. I'm going to be talking about the good, the bad, the happy, and the sad, with all the spoilers. So if you haven't already seen it, leave this on watch later and head over to Netflix to see the film for yourself. At the beginning of the film and throughout it, we're told that all three pony kinds, unicorns, earth ponies, and the Pegasi, hate each other with an enormous amount of passion. Even obsession on the earth ponies' part. They covered their whole town in unicorn traps. This prejudice, which is presented as some pretty crazy racism, is what sets up the film's entire plot, which is Sunny's goal to bring together all of pony kind to be besties, just how they were back in apparently the very distant past, which is the Friendship's Magic show as we know it. I think the basic skeleton for a plot as I've described it works just fine for a point for new viewers to jump in, while also giving older fans something familiar to follow along with. Within that basic plot, of course, there are lots of different points to be made. Even with a simple film such as this one, there is a huge amount of work and thought that goes into it, so there's always a huge amount to discuss. With that being said, I'm going to explain what I liked, what I thought worked about the film, and what I feel didn't work, while also explaining how I think it could have been made better. This is all, of course, just my opinion, and we don't have to agree. First on the list of wins is the animation and the backgrounds. The style of the buildings and the nature around the characters are really beautiful, and I found the lighting to be very pretty too. The animation itself is smooth and expressive. Perhaps the ponies' faces take a few too many cues from the ladies of Frozen, but they are expressive and I found to be appealing once I got used to the change from the G4 style I'm used to. The songs and the soundtrack are good, fit right in, and to a lesser extent Angry Mob and I'm Looking Out For You especially work very well, but some don't so well, which I will discuss later. I think the cast was all very well chosen and are all directed in a way that feels more modern than the very over-the-top cartoon voices of the older pony cartoons. The girls' voices are sweet and cute, but not silly or false. The background animals and pets were absolutely adorable. I am completely serious when I say that the seagulls were a highlight for me. The dialogue was good, I feel. The film in its basic structure and outline is very similar to Raya and the Last Dragon, but the script for this film flows a lot more naturally. Of course, both films are guilty of just using modern American vernacular, but this film does not overdo it on the internet speech. Not that it would matter so much if this film did, as the ponies apparently do have the internet now. I know a lot of people didn't care for this, but it's not obtrusive, and I think it's fun to see characters with no fingers using touchscreen technology. The phone camera just magically knows when Pip wants to take a selfie. She doesn't touch or say anything. Another tiny detail I appreciate is the individual hairs, and more importantly, the peach fuzz texture of the ponies' coats. It's so cute. Moving on to the list of downsides, I feel it's fair to start with the extremely uneven amount of screen time spent on each of the so-called 5 main characters. Sunny is the main character, so it's fair enough that she has as much screen time as she has, but the others, who are apparently all on the same level, really aren't. Izzy has plenty of lines, screen time, and other characters talking about her, and so does Hitch. But the sisters absolutely do not. I love Izzy and I liked Hitch too, but they had so much more attention than the other girls that it's really noticeable even on the first watch. It's a real shame as Zip and Pip are the only characters from the seemingly more technologically advanced region. Pip hardly gets to say anything, but the lines she does have do imply more personality and interests than Zip gets. What even is her character? Kind of tomboyish maybe sporty? We don't really know. Extra promotional material and toy packaging telling us what she likes doesn't count. I notice especially where Hitch gets so many lines compared to the sisters, several of the purposes that his complaints serve in the story could have been presented by one of the Pegasi girls instead. As a perfect example, we see Hitch in full hoof-made Pegasus disguise at the concert. We're led to believe that he has made this on very short notice all by himself with no suggestion from anyone else. Silly as it is, it's clear he has no qualms about going out in disguise or playing dress up. This is also seen in his ridiculous calendar making an appearance in his office. However, later in the film, he is making a big deal about not wanting to go anywhere in a unicorn disguise. He sings about it, says it will never work, it's a new low, calls Izzy crazy. Even though he had this idea first, just yesterday. More to the point, his disguise did actually fool everyone too. The crowd only noticed when the wings got swept off his back. Zip makes a very brief protest about dressing up, which would have been very easily followed up with her singing about the reasons for not wanting to do it instead of Hitch. Speaking of singing the songs, as much as I do like the songs in the film, it's not really a proper musical. Sunny's opening song is presented as a show tune, but it's really just a pop song. It doesn't tell much of a story at all, and the plot would flow the same without it. The next song is one between Izzy and Sunny about how Sunny is going to look out for her and basically be her best friend. This does serve a purpose in the story, and although it felt like a romantic song, oddly, You couldn't take it out without the story failing to work. The next song is basically the bad guy song, which is very funny and works extremely well to advance the story the way a musical number should. Pip's pop song plays over the background of what is essentially a heist scene. The words to this song are completely meaningless, which I suppose is fine given that it's a song that is playing as part of the universe rather than the story. However, I think they could have written something rather better than glowing up, kinda love, dip and slide through the cut, glowing up, kinda love, we say hi, you say what? It's also important to note that this song does nothing to help us to get to know Pip. The song Izzy's House is really good, very catchy, and absolutely does serve its purpose in the story. Although, as I've pointed out, it's only between the first 3 characters we got to know. The sisters are literally just background dancers. The final song is terrible. I mean, it's fine as a pop song on the radio, but in the film it serves absolutely no purpose. We don't get any kind of point from it. Which leads me to my next and main criticism, the structure of the third act of the film. Basically, the 3 acts of the film are divided up into Earth Pony World, Pegasus World, and finally Unicorn World. We have a great introduction to the Unicorn Forest with Izzy's song and pretty Treehouse Cottage, but it all falls apart with everything after that point. All the effort that went into getting the Pegasus Stone was interesting and relatively momentous for these ponies to pull off. To get the Unicorn Stone, Sunny has to play Just Dance with some guy. I get that it's played for laughs, but we are far too deep into the story to throw it away for just a meme. It's not particularly funny, the song is irrelevant and badly edited over the animation, only Sunny gets to have a go because she said so, and she only wins because Pip tells her to. But the win doesn't count because of prejudice, so Hitch gets the unicorns to do their superstitious dance and the group just takes the stone. Which they could have done all along. We know from the previous act that they have no problem with stealing. The whole Just Dance thing is just a detour that wastes this rushed film's very precious time. The 2 stones don't do anything when they're put together, but it turns out there is a 3rd stone for the Earth Ponies, but that doesn't work either. We didn't really need to see the same failure twice. Sprout bulldozes Sunny's house and everything she owns, but she takes that very well, and it somehow makes her realise that the pony's magic can be restored by ponies all being besties again, which is kind of what she'd already thought, and also what she's already been doing while hanging out with her new friends. So I'm not sure why she needed the random 3 other ponies to go along with being friends to bring magic back. It's not like the general population suddenly thinks the other races are great. So if it doesn't have to be everyone in agreement, what does the magic hinge on? After the magic comes back, it's unclear whether or not Sunny gets to keep her horn and wings, and meanwhile Sprout has no comeuppance whatsoever. Sunny seems totally fine with having no house and no belongings. Overall, to fix the film, it needed to have a lot more thought put into the ending. It honestly wouldn't have taken much. Talking about the possibilities could be its own video, but whatever route they had chosen, they could have done better than that. Finally, the thing that I think would have really made this film go up another level would have been to better commit to being a musical. 3 of the 6 songs are just pop songs. Every main character should have at least a little bit to sing. There should have been more songs per minute to the film, and the songs they do have should count for more. A similar film is Frozen in the sense that the main roles are 5, Anna, Elsa, Hans, Olaf, and Kristoff. All these characters get to sing. Frozen is only 10 minutes longer and has 9 songs that all count for the story progression. I certainly don't expect a film so much cheaper to make than Frozen to be as good as Frozen, but since we know that the people making this film do know how to write songs, they could have done more, and could have done better for the 3 I've criticised. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the film. Of course, despite my critique, I do still think it's very cute, and much more tasteful than a lot of other children's films being made lately. I like it, but I just wish they had thought of making a better ending, even if they didn't have time or ideas for better quality songs. Let me know in the comments what you thought worked and what you thought didn't. I'd really like to see your opinions. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching!